Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Coach's Couch. I'm Nighat Haroon, and our guest of today has a skill to convert her anxiety into productivity. A small town girl following her dreams and working with multinational companies. Let's welcome Shivaani and discuss art of converting your weakness into strength. Hi, Shivaani. How are you today?
Hi, Nighat. I'm very well. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. And a warm hello to all our viewers and listeners.
Thank you very much, Vani. So tell our audience more about you, and can you share your journey where you are today?
Sure. So professionally, I serve my clients in three areas. I help mid-career professionals with career transition and career growth, both horizontally, vertically, and diagonally, and midlife upgrade through clarity and consistency coaching. I also help startups and mid-sized organizations with HR strategy and transformation and with corporate trainings. Personally speaking, as you already mentioned, I come from a beautiful small town in north of India. I'm currently in India. And yes, as a child, I was an average student and I had faced a lot of anxiety and self-doubt. Some 25 years back, I decided to move out of the environment. I completed my studies and started my journey in multinational company. And from there, it has been a great learning curve. 15 years, working with different mentors and leaders. 9 years back, actually, I had an incident, I would say, which both professionally and personally made me just, halt and take a pause and understand that there is something which is missing. And that is where I started reevaluating that what worked in the past might not be working now, and you have to change the course of action. So that is where a journey of transformation started. And though I continued with my corporate career and it was beautiful, I was loving it, but I started working on myself. And in 2019, I took a break. That is where I got indulged into other activities and I took the NLP course. I am an NLP Master Practitioner. And it so happened while I was taking the course and I was taking coaching sessions, basically coaching came to me rather than me coming to coaching. It happened very naturally. Never thought of leaving the corporate, but I think it was just a click of moment which striked, and I realized this is what I want to do further. And here I am today. Yeah.
Nice. So you just said that instead of you reaching to the coaching came to you.
Yeah.
So now let's discuss about like what is coaching to you.
Oh, that is beautiful. I think for me, it is that space, which allows somebody to really see their true potential, to see their natural gifts and talents. It is a realization we are who we really want to be. It is perspective, and we are not seeing how to harness that. And I think coaching gives that space so beautifully.
Nice. So what's your personal transformation story that stood you out in helping others through coaching?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So, as I said, Nighat, for me, on papers, it was a very successful journey, I would say. I have marked all the things that is required to be done, the scripted life, what we call education, career, financial stability. But I had learned this art of converting my anxiety and my energy into more productivity. For me, it was more work, and further more work. Worked at that time because when you are young and when you are really working hard to grow in your careers, it was very useful and I really got some good opportunities. But I realized that unprocessed energies does not work always. You have to kind of work through them. You cannot leave them aside. And that is where I realized when 9 years back, I had this, downturn both in professional and personal life back to back. And it really took me aback. It really made me feel that I have everything, then why I'm not really joyful? There's something missing. And when I started working through it, there were certain aspects. Probably we have to reevaluate ourselves. Sometimes it is also about taking a pause and seeing whether is this the same values that we are still carrying or we want to do? Because as we evolve, we change as person. So I think that story and that incident really made a huge turn to my life. It took me a couple of years to go through it. And last 2-3 years, I really have put in that transformation into action, and it has been beautiful.
Amazing. What a beautiful journey you have, and what a beautiful way you just like explain how your own transformation have done and how you are helping the people. So, how do you help your clients?
I help my clients talking about coaching mainly because that is what we are talking today. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there, there are different packages that I have and different offerings that I give. However, it a lot depends on how ready my clients are. We
Mm-hmm.
as people, we sometimes react to the situation. It can be an unforeseen situation, or we suddenly realize we are stuck in a role for a couple of years and nothing is moving. Sometimes there are high performers who are really very proactive and they want to plan ahead of it. So that readiness really makes a difference in how I approach my coaching, whether you are proactive, reactive, or you are, even further planning for your own careers. And I have my own framework, I call it DC5. And that goes through a journey wherein, I sit with my clients and understand their discovery, what they're looking. And after that, I deep dive into co-designing with them. What are the strategies, what are the tools that will help them, both from point of view, so that we are taking something which is instrumental, but at the same time, from the mindset perspective,
Mm-hmm.
mindset, behaviors, and how are we approaching. So that is where my journey kind of get curated as per my client's need.
Wow. What exactly you are giving back to your client is like the real investment they are doing on this coaching journey. So, how long you have been in this coaching role?
It's been almost 3 years now. I
Mm-hmm.
NLP, but the last 2.5 years it has been, after I did my ICF credentialing and I'm still pursuing my PCC. That is where I came more into the career coaching part of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is mid-career transition? Because we are talking about your own transformation as well, and there was a point where you realized that there needs to be some reset buttons which needs to be happen now. So, what is mid-career transition to you?
Uh, you know, I think it is that phase we all grow in our careers, and usually the mindset is the next promotion, the
Mm-hmm.
next growth, and we are happy about it. We go from an executive to become a TL or a manager. But suddenly, when we are looking for a senior leadership role or we are wanting to go to a next level, it gives a lot of shift in our perspective of not only knowing the subject or the skill set, but it is also about how we are managing our people. And at
Mm-hmm.
that point, people really find it difficult to grab that opportunity, and they don't understand why, because on papers they have the skill sets, they have the experience and the knowledge, but there is something which is missing there. And
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, mid-career and the coaches comes very handy, because it is a perspective change that gives you a different overview of what my next leadership role will entail, you know. So yeah, that is the point. When so it can be, it's not necessary, so people usually consider that coaches or you need help when something is not going good or
Yeah.
you're really into a bad shape. Yes, sometimes it happens, unforeseen situations happens, or you become complacent about a role, but sometimes it is also about probably you want to prepare yourself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
role. And I think in both the ways you can really benefit from having a coach.
With those consideration, I have another question for you.
Sure.
What would you say, or what are your thoughts basically for somebody who is starting a leadership role?
Yeah, I mean, very apt question at the apt time. And as I was
Mhm.
just, well, there are a couple of things, but I think I will highlight the three main. One thing which has been coming in recent times, and even studies has been showing, or McKinsey talks about, the one skill that senior leadership these days need is managing ambiguity, uncertainty. Because it is not only about the subject and the skills, as I said, it is about managing people. So you
Mhm.
above the KRA's KPIs and managing the teams to creating an impact. So one is managing the uncertainty and ambiguity. Second is knowing your people. Now, when I say knowing your people, it is not about names and designations. It is about really knowing them, going in that step ahead to understand what are the needs and experiences that will make them more inclusive and more productive. So that is a very important thing. And third, as I said, is building the right culture and the right environment. I
Mhm.
think things really gets highlight when you're going through that senior leadership.
Wow. Thank you for sharing such amazing consideration. What, as a person who is about to become a leadership or who is about to take this kind of step, a career level up basically, to think and to reprocess themselves. So, what are formal organization structure or ladders which a person needs to like walk up to?
This is not a very straight answer, I would say, and I will
Mhm,
give it parts. One, success is our own personal definition. Everybody
mhm,
finds it very differently. You need to be very, understanding and having that clarity what exactly you are looking for.
mm,
You wanting to move horizontally and become, next designation and next role, managing big teams and big business units, or you want to go horizontally and take a wider role, or sometimes you want to be a subject matter expert. So it is really a space wherein you need to, and that is where I said you need to kind of reset that button and ask yourself what I'm really looking for in my
yeah.
career. Because organizations are different depending on where you are working. Startups have a very flat, and incubators have very flat structures. Multinationals have a very different structures, though mostly it is matrix, but still
Mhm.
it is those knowledge and understanding which really helps them to take which path I want to go further and where do I see myself in future.
That's true. Like all the organizations are different. Like small SMEs, they have another kind of a structure, and the same time, ladders are less. The more bigger company, the more ladders are there, and the more structured things are available for you to understand what new career level ups you want or what new career transitions you are looking forward. So, with such kind of knowledge, I want to know, why are the complaints of burnout at the workplace is increasing? Because nowadays everybody is on LinkedIn or even some formal pages. I have seen that people are saying like work burnout are real. Work burnout is something I'm facing at the moment.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. And then the reason that I was smiling, we always had burnout, or we always had stress situations. But I think in the last few years, it has really increased exponentially. And as
Mm,
I said earlier, one of the reasons is, I think, uncertainty. We are living in such an uncertain and volatile world these days. Processes are changing, positions are changing, company norms and announcements are changing so frequently that employees are not having that stability kind of a thing that they were more used to in the past. So that is one thing. And obviously, extra work, anytime working, different time zones, there are multiple factors. But I think this is one of the reasons that is causing burnout. Another important factor in my perspective is also about how are we managing ourselves. While these are external factors and it's not much in our control. As I today only wrote about the Stephen Covey thing, it's the in circle of influence or the circle of concern. Where is your focus?
yeah.
On the circle of concern focus, probably you are taking more energy into considering what is not going okay and everything is not good. Or if you are taking towards this, focusing on circle of influence, you are trying to figure out what can I do in this current situation. How can I make it better? You know.
Mhm.
So yeah, burnout is a very common thing that has happened, and it has both the perspectives. The current working environment, we are in a very stressful times, but at the same time, it is also about how well are we managing ourselves.
And I guess COVID is playing one of the best role in this.
Very true.
Like the COVID time period have spoiled us somewhere, that coming back to that routine is getting harder for us. And working in the same environment is even getting harder for a lot of people now. So how can a company help or support their employees' well-being?
Interesting. I think organizations are doing a lot of things these days, especially as I said in last few years. And I would quote here one of the HR leaders, the pioneers who talks, Devil Ruch. He very beautifully mentioned in one of his articles about the shift in from circular thinking to spiral thinking.
Mhm.
In very loosely mentioning, his reference was how companies are getting more concerned about or more sensitive about employee sentiments. So, the scale has moved from employee engagement at one point in time to employee experience now. And that is where companies are creating the environment of more psychological safety, better rewards and recognition, and at the same time having that, the growth path that they are working for high performers or for everybody, not only high performers. So I think these are a couple of things that organizations are really focusing on these days to help people feel more comfortable in the environment.
So related to this answer, basically, I guess you have already given a lot of details here, but I want to know how can companies retain employees for long term? Because a lot of people are facing that people are resigning so quickly, like within 2, 3 years, they feel like now they need to shift to another job or to another position. So how companies can retain and how companies can save themselves now?
This is the side of the table, and I think this is a big debate which is going on. There are a couple of factors which are coming into light these days. Obviously, earlier it was the resignation that was very high. Now it is quitting, which is coming very popular.
Mm.
And okay, one of the things that I feel, and it is nothing a magic wand here, but more intentional thing that organizations need to do is the communication, is the transparency that they are holding in making those changes and making those decisions. The leadership has moved more, it's distributed different levels now. It is not about just top management. It is
Yeah.
not about middle management. Even the juniors have certain level of leadership, certain level of responsibility in their roles. And them that space and to give them that authority that yes, your contributions value. I think those things are becoming very important these days to cater to the employee demands. Purpose have become a very big subject in last few years. Rather, it was always about better roles or better fancy titles and money. But I think people are looking something beyond. People are looking that blurred line between life and work now, and they're looking what purpose I'm getting there. Yeah.
Now I'm curious to know one thing, like what are your own motivational factor when you were on the job?
When I was
On the job.
when I was on the job, nice. I think I had a couple of things, Nighat. One, obviously, I was very fortunate to work with senior leaders, honestly. Very senior leaders. And that gave me a very good perspective of the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was one person who was very curious to understand where my inputs are going and adding to the bigger picture. And I always had one, apart from my day-to-day life, I always have one project which was a corporate level project, like, one leg there. So I think my motivation was the exciting projects that I was doing. My motivation was also the seniors who gave me every 2 years, 2.5 years, a new role or a new challenge. And I was very clear about it. I was always looking for where I'm learning more. So for me, learning was a very big motivation factor. Till the time I was keep learning, keep growing, and I know something new is adding value, and I am able to value. That kept me going.
Perfect. So there is a wild entry question now from an audience. When is the best time to change your career or think about changing companies? This is the tricky one.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. Though it is a very personal thing, I mean, it is no standard answer that anybody can define for someone. But I, from my perspective, will say a couple of things. One thing I would say is it is not necessary to think about changing careers when you think I'm not getting what want or what there's something missing. I would be more proactive. The best high performers, who actually move careers or move companies when they are really at a very good place, when they are doing very well, because that helps you leave in a very good note. That helps you, that healthy energy is there. I would say take care of that. And sometimes it does not happen that way. It's absolutely okay. Everything cannot be defined. In that case, plan for it rather than just taking a reactive action. Oh, I'm completely frustrated. Things are just not working and I want to quit tomorrow or change tomorrow. I think that does not help too much. in terms of taking the right decisions. So I would say be stable, be have the clarity of why you are doing before you are doing, and third, be a bit proactive. Don't do it in complacency. Don't do it when it is really needed, but think forward about it.
And with that, I'm listening how people used to spend their entire lives in one company and then take the golden shake hand and say bye bye. I'm really curious to know how people used to stay and have that kind of a stability to stay in one company for that long period.
I think it is a change in times, Nikhil. I think those
Mm,
people value stability more. They valued, what are the times and the relations that we are having in the organization. And it is also about the changing environment which is compelling us to do this, to make us that change. We are moving towards gig economy. We are
mm,
towards an era wherein youngsters are coming into the corporate, not even knowing what will be the new technologies and new trends which will come by the time they grow in careers.
that's
So
true.
shift happening, at this point in time, and that is making people, obviously they can't afford to be sitting into one organizations and not looking for their upskilling
Yeah.
or because both from financial and growth perspective, it is becoming important.
Now you just triggered out my overthinking now because the same time I'm thinking about NFTs, what's coming up, metaverse, and those stuff, and still like I'm trying to like fix my bricks at the moment to get the social marketing and those stuff in hand. But the world is really going fast. That's true. That's true. So, what advice would you like to give to our audience today?
Oh, wow. Uh, Not advice. I think I will just leave them with the message, which I have spoken earlier also. One, be proactive, uh,
Mhm.
than being reactive to the situations. And second, I would say seek clarity. If you think that you need clarity or if you have tried things by yourself and not working, there's no harm in asking and seeking help. Sometimes we find it very difficult to approach, and it is not because I'm a coach. In general, I think I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm saying from that perspective, it is always helpful to go and seek that advice to fast track what you're doing. It is not
Yeah.
that you will, but probably you will take more longer a time and more complex the journey will be. So these two things, yes, seek clarity and be proactive.
What a beautiful advice you just give to us. So, before closing today's session, I would like to know how people can approach or contact you.
Beautiful. LinkedIn is the best place at this point in time. If
Mhm,
you reach to my profile on LinkedIn, it has my contact, it has my email address, all the coordinates are there. They
mhm,
can write to me. By
mhm.
next month, I am formally launching my venture. So I will have more further details coming very soon on that page. So yeah.
Mhm. So, is there any social media as well, like social handles as well?
All the three things are coming. So right now it is
Mhm.
just under development. That's why it is
Okay.
pulled down. But
Mhm.
company website, Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn all are coming soon.
Perfect. It was lovely having you today on our show, Shivani. Thanks a lot for your precious time and amazing advices you just give us today. So, thank you
Thank you
very,
so
very much
much.
from my
Thank you
end.
very much. It was
Mhm.
wonderful talking to you, Nika.
Yeah. And I hope you enjoy this couch today.
Absolutely. You're doing a great job.
You're welcome. Anyone who is joining us first time, please go ahead and just check out our previous episodes as well. And if you want to be a part of our show and you want to be a part of our guest list as well, so contact me anytime. Feel free to be a part of our the Coaches Couch community, as well as do comment in the comment section. Let us know your feedbacks. Let us know what exactly you're thinking about our ongoing sessions and how we can change or how we can add something new which could add value in your life as well. So thank you very much. See you next week with another episode of the Coaches Couch. I'm Nighat Haroon.